Today, we're going to reveal 5 lesser-known secrets of Inuit women, focusing on their daily lives and intimate practices that have been passed down for generations. 1. Bathing and hygiene. In a land where water is often frozen and hard to come by, Inuit women developed ingenious ways to maintain personal hygiene. Bathing in the traditional sense, immersing in water, was rarely possible. Instead, Inuit women used the resources at hand. Animal fat, such as seal or whale oil, was commonly applied to the skin. This not only cleansed but protected against the cold, sealing in warmth during the freezing Arctic winters. Women would rub the oil into their skin and wipe it away with soft moss or animal skins, removing dirt and dead skin while moisturizing their bodies. In the absence of water, snow played a key role as well. Women would scrub their skin with fresh snow, which acted like a natural exfoliant, cleaning and refreshing the skin without causing harm. This practice was often done at the end of long hunting or fishing trips, offering a sense of renewal and comfort after enduring the harsh elements. While modern conveniences have reached many Inuit communities, in some remote areas, these traditional methods of hygiene are still practiced, blending old knowledge with modern tools. 2. Sexual practices and relationships. Inuit views on relationships and sexuality were shaped by their environment and the communal nature of survival in the Arctic. The extreme conditions required close-knit communities, where family ties were not just about emotional support but also about working together to thrive in an unforgiving landscape. Relationships were, therefore, rooted in practicality, with marriage and sexual practices often guided by the need to ensure the survival of the family, the community, and future generations. Traditionally, marriages were arranged, often by the parents or elders of the family, and the reasons were typically practical. These arrangements were made to strengthen family ties, create alliances, and ensure that resources were shared among the extended family. However, while marriages were arranged, women often had a say in their final choice. Mutual respect between partners was a key value in Inuit society, and even in arranged marriages, the well-being and consent of both partners were considered important. One of the most unique and often misunderstood aspects of Inuit sexual practices was partner sharing. In some Inuit communities, there was a practice of exchanging sexual partners, either temporarily or in more established arrangements. This practice was not casual or random, it was done with purpose. Partner sharing served as a way to strengthen bonds between families, much like arranged marriages. It was seen as a way to build trust and create tighter social networks that could be relied upon in times of hardship. In a small, isolated community where cooperation was essential for survival, these social bonds were critical. Partner sharing could occur during hunting or trading expeditions when different groups came together. It was a way to cement alliances between groups or families, ensuring cooperation in times of need. In some cases, partners were exchanged to foster closer connections between families or to share resources, such as food, tools, or skills. There was also an understanding that this exchange of partners helped maintain harmony within the community, as it could diffuse tensions that might arise from long-term monogamous arrangements in such tight living quarters. For Inuit women, sexual autonomy within these relationships was an essential part of their role in the community. While partner sharing was a communal decision, women were often consulted, and their consent was valued. Women played a significant role in managing relationships, ensuring that family ties remained strong and that the social fabric of the community was intact. This level of respect for women's autonomy in relationships, even within the confines of arranged marriages or partner sharing, was a testament to the egalitarian nature of many Inuit practices. Sexuality itself was not seen as taboo in Inuit culture. Instead, it was considered a natural part of life, and there was no shame associated with sexual relations. Inuit communities had a very open approach to discussing sexuality, especially compared to Western societies. Children grew up observing the adult world, learning about relationships and sexuality through lived experiences rather than formal education. This openness extended to the understanding that relationships and sexual practices were part of the broader web of community life, with everyone playing a role in maintaining balance and ensuring the well-being of the group. However, with the introduction of Western influences and Christian missionaries in the 19th and 20th centuries, some of these traditional practices changed. Missionaries often imposed new moral codes and discouraged practices like partner sharing, viewing them as immoral. Over time, many Inuit communities adopted more westernized views on marriage and sexuality, but traditional values of respect, mutual support, and sexual autonomy remained strong. In the traditional Inuit way of life, the concept of contraception was tied closely to the rhythm of nature and survival. Family size was an important consideration for Inuit women, as having more children meant more hands to help with hunting, gathering, and maintaining the household. However, in the challenging Arctic environment, resources were limited, and raising too many children at once could strain the family's ability to survive. As a result, Inuit women developed practices to naturally manage family size and fertility. 3. Contraception. One of the primary methods of contraception for Inuit women was based on extended breastfeeding. Inuit mothers typically breastfed their children for several years, sometimes until the child was 3 or 4 years old. This practice naturally suppressed ovulation, which meant that women were less likely to conceive during this time. This method of birth spacing allowed families to ensure that children were born at intervals that were manageable in terms of food and care, aligning childbirth with the family's ability to provide for each new member. Herbal knowledge also played a role in fertility management. Inuit women had a deep understanding of the plants in their environment, and certain herbs were believed to affect fertility or prevent conception. Although the harsh Arctic climate limited the variety of plants available, women used what they could find. Some plants and roots were prepared into teas or remedies to either encourage fertility when desired or, in some cases, act as contraceptives. These herbal practices were passed down through generations, often shared between women within the family or community. Additionally, there was an element of sexual customs that supported family planning. Inuit communities sometimes practiced partner sharing, a tradition that, in some cases, served as a form of birth control. By sharing partners at times when women were less likely to conceive, couples could manage the timing of pregnancies. While these customs might seem unfamiliar to outsiders, they were part of a broader cultural framework designed to ensure the survival and balance of the family and the community as a whole. 4. Toilet practices. In the icy wilderness of the Arctic, toilet practices had to adapt to the environment. Inuit women, like the rest of their community, had to contend with the lack of basic plumbing. Early toilet practices were simple and efficient. In the absence of running water, Inuit women would dig small pits in the snow or use rocky outcroppings for privacy. These makeshift toilets were carefully placed away from living areas to maintain cleanliness, and snow was often used for wiping, due to its availability and hygienic properties. As the environment dictated, waste management was a communal effort. Waste was often disposed of far from camps to avoid contamination of living spaces and water sources. In modern times, some Inuit communities in remote areas still use outdoor outhouses or portable toilets, particularly where plumbing is inaccessible. These traditional methods reflect a deep understanding of the Arctic environment and a resourcefulness that allowed Inuit women to maintain hygiene and cleanliness in even the most challenging conditions. 5. Handling menstruation. Menstruation, though a universal experience for women, was handled in unique ways by Inuit women, shaped by their environment and cultural beliefs. The Arctic's harsh climate required creative solutions to manage menstruation without the conveniences we take for granted today. Inuit women utilized the natural resources around them, relying on moss, animal skins, and other organic materials to manage their monthly cycles in a sustainable and practical manner. Moss, known for its softness and absorbency, was the primary material used by Inuit women for menstrual hygiene. It was carefully gathered and dried, then fashioned into absorbent pads that could be worn discreetly. These moss pads were often placed inside small pouches made from sealskin, which could be reused and cleaned after each cycle. Sealskin, known for its water-resistant properties, provided a perfect protective layer, preventing leaks while keeping the woman dry and comfortable. The preparation of these materials was a community effort. Women would come together to gather moss during warmer months, selecting the softest and most absorbent varieties. They would then dry and store the moss for future use. This communal aspect reinforced bonds among women, who shared not just physical resources but knowledge and support during these times. Handling menstruation was seen as a natural part of life, and these practices were passed down from mothers to daughters as part of their cultural heritage. For many Inuit women, menstruation was not just a physical experience but also a spiritual one. Some believed that menstruating women were closer to the cycles of nature and held a special connection to the earth. As a result, menstruation was treated with care and respect. It was common for women to retreat to a secluded area during their cycle, not out of shame, but to reflect and rest. These secluded spaces, sometimes small tents or designated areas in the home, provided a peaceful environment for women to focus on self-care and introspection during their menstruation. In addition to moss and sealskin, other materials like dried grass, feathers, or even soft animal furs were sometimes used, depending on availability and personal preference. Every woman had her own way of managing menstruation, but all methods emphasized sustainability and respect for the environment. The materials were always cleaned, dried, and reused, in line with the Inuit ethos of waste minimization and respect for natural resources.